Adding and subtracting integers, Module 1.1 through 1.3 review. The first thing we need to remember when adding and subtracting integers is that when we're adding integers with the same sign, that all we need to do is add the numbers and keep the sign. So first, 5 plus 4, both positive, so our answer is positive. It will be 9. Also, if we have a negative 5 plus a negative 4, both are negative, so our answer will be negative, so it's a negative 9. In our first real-world example, we'll take a look at our Dundee Viking football team. So, a football team loses 3 yards on one play and 6 yards on another play. Write a sum of negative integers to represent this situation. Find the sum and explain how it's related to the problem. So, a loss of 3 yards would be negative 3, and a loss of 6 yards would be negative 6. And to find the sum, you need to add the integers together. So negative 3 plus negative 6 would be negative 9. And negative 9 is related to the problem because it's the total amount of yards lost on both plays. Moving on to adding integers with different signs. First thing we need to remember to do is take the absolute value of each integer before doing anything else. After that, we subtract, and finally, with our answer, we take the sign of the either positive or negative of the bigger number in the original problem. So, taking a look at negative 5 plus 3, we would need to take the absolute value, so first it'd just be a 5 and a 3, and subtract them to get 2, and then we would take the sign of negative from the 5 in the original problem to give it to our answer, making it negative 2, because 5 is bigger than 3, and the sign of 5 was negative. So taking a look at a real-world example with this, thinking about Jeopardy, Joe is playing Jeopardy. On his first turn, he lost 100 points. On his second turn, he gained 75 points. Find the sum of the two integers that represent the change of Joe's score after his first 2 turns. So in his first turn, he lost 100 points. So that would be negative 100. But then on his second turn, he gained 75. So that would be a positive 75 points. And in order to find the sum, you just add the integers together. So negative 100 plus 75, we can't do that. So we have to first take the absolute value and then subtract 100 minus 75. And we get 25. But our answer is negative 25 because looking back at the original problem, the integer negative 100, or more so looking at just 100, is bigger than 75. And we would take the sign of 100, which is negative, and apply it to our answer. And that's why it's negative 25. Finally, subtracting integers. Here, we just add a line and change the sign to make it go right back to what we did with adding integers. So for example, if we have negative 15 minus 4, we could change that to negative 15 plus negative 4 by adding a line to the minus sign in the original problem and changing the subtrahend 4 to negative 4 by changing the sign. And so then negative 15 plus negative 4 would be negative 19. In our real world example here, we'll take a look at food and the cafeteria and how we buy it. So, Ashley had a balance of negative $5 in her lunch money account at school. After making a deposit in the office, she has $25 in her account. What is the overall change to her account? Well, she began with negative $5, so that is a negative 5, and then she ended with $25 in her account, so that would be represented by 25. To find the change, you need to subtract the integers. You would subtract the final amount from the original, so our final 25 minus our original negative 5, we would have to add a line and change the sign to make it 25 plus 5, and that is 30. And therefore, she had an overall change of $30 to her account. So finally, our summary. Always remember the 3 different rules when adding and subtracting integers, and study your interactive notebooks in preparation for the quiz.